Good morning. We're learning a Chassidic Discourse. It was said in this week's Shabbos Parshas Bereshis, and also we blessed the new month of Mar Cheshvan. This Maimon was said in 1970, and it's called Vayomer Yonasan because it speaks about the conversation between King Saul, and King David. So the Yonasan was the son of King Shaul, and he speaks to King David. Okay, and this is the Haftarah of this week. It says in the book of Shmuel, this pasuk is the beginning of the Haftarah of this Shabbos, which is Erev Rosh Chodesh, and it's called Mocho Chodesh. So I guess if you look at the calendar, it comes out that the Rosh Chodesh Cheshvan falls on
Sunday.
Yeah, so here, this week Shabbos Suchos Torah, then you have Chavtes Tishrei as Shabbos, and Sunday exactly is the
Right.
School.
Sunday, Monday, 2 days.
They were labeled with Moshe concert. So it says over here on Sunday. Anyhow, so let's look at the Maimon. Yonasan says to David HaMelech, Mocho Chodesh, tomorrow is going to be Rosh Chodesh. V'nifkadeto ki poked moishavecha. And if you don't show up to the meal, the king would make a fasted meal,
Right.
and if you don't show up, the fact that you won't be there would be noticeable.
Right.
הנה ידוע בעניין ונפקדתו כי פוקד שף ששתי הטבעס ונפקדתו היא פוקד מייס השורש. כל מוקן הופכס זה מזו. It says the word nifkadeto and yipoked is the same root, pokad,
Yeah.
but each one means something else. Hofchir meaning they are completely the opposite meanings. How is that opposite? Because yipoked uloshen chisoren. The word yipoked means deficiency. You won't be there. You are going to be missed. You are going to be noticeable. Actually, the opposite. So yipoked means you're not going to be there. Obviously, deficiency. And nifkadoto means you'll be remembered. You'll be remembered. So this is exactly the opposite.
Well, it could not, but like you could be remembered by your absence.
Yes,
Like,
remembered by.
I hope people think, where's Shmuel?
Remembered by his absence. Yeah.
Right, like that. I hope people think.
Firush. Yeah.
I mean,
So.
I don't
And the
really
pasuk,
provide-
so the pasuk says that these two words, "V'nifkadeto ki pocket," shvichteish v'nifkadeto. In order to have the concept of nifkadeto, meaning the remembrance, shuinyan hazechir v'efen golui, arei zedav kaldeshi pocket, shuinyan chisoren. This is exactly what you said. Remembrance by absence. The fact that he was going to be absent, that's why he's going to be remembered.
Right.
For example, in the sanctification of Kiddush HaChodesh, the sanctification of the month. It says, Mocho Chodesh, tomorrow is going to be Rosh Chodesh, Shedav Kalach Elam Alvono, specifically after the concealment of the moon, Lagamri, that it's not visible at all. You pocket, it's not there, it's missing, it's deficient. So much so that not even a dot is visible. So the birth of the moon is now starts again. Now we're paying attention to the existence of the moon. When you have moon every night, you get used to it. Then when it's gone, and then the birth of the moon comes, people get excited about the birth of the moon. Same idea comes about v'nifkadeto, any pocket. There's two words. Yonasan says to David, the sons of King Shaul, says, Omer Yonasan David, the Ine Bashem Yonasan Nirmos Abbas Yimavai. If you look at the name of Yonasan, you have the name of Yud Kei Vav Kei.
Well, I have 3 out of the 4 now.
Look what he says. He says, Nirmos Abbas Yimavai Yud Kei Vav Kei Ki Yonasan U Yud Kei Vav.
Yeah.
And then Nasan.
Okay.
What is Nasan?
Yeah.
Yud Kei Vav and Sholosh Oiso Shon Shem Havai. The first Yud Kei Vav is the first 3 letters of Shem Havai. V'Nasan begimatria chameshmas. Nasan is numerical value is 500. Noon is 50.
Yeah.
You have 2 noons, so it's 100, and 400 is a taf. So what is 500 telling me? It's referencing to the last day of Shem Havai, which is when it's doubled a few times. Chomesh Pa'amim Eser Pa'amim Eser.
Then it becomes 10,000.
100 times 5 is 500.
100 times 5, I thought it was 100 times
V'David, now, Ubechinas HaMalchus. What is David?
5.
David is Malchus. David is the kingship. Malchus is the last Sephira. Hey Achroina. We know that it's explained, we said it many times, explained Kabbalah and Chassidus, that the 10 Sephiros are hinted in Shem Havai. So Yud is Chochmah, Hey is Bina, Vav is the emotive attributes, and the last Hey is Malchus. Right?
Yeah.
Shemitzad Atzmin Yecholos in Shechisor in your pocket. Says Malchus itself cannot be missed. Mitzad Atzmo on its own doesn't have the concept of a pocket. Regarding this, it says, Yonasan says to David, Shebechinas David Nasan, Yonasan Melosh Nisim Shechas Hayah Achreno, Kfi Shebeshlemus Shechamesh Mois. So he tells them, really, Yonasan says to David, since David is Malchus, he is not going to have a chisaron. He's not going to have any kind of deficiency. Rather, imoshech la'ir v'shefa, meaning so Malchus would have a drawdown of light and flow. Nosan, what does Nosan means? Nosan is giving. Nesina, Yonasan milosh nesina. And the last hay will be drawn not in a way of deficiency, will be drawn the way it is with shleimus, with perfection. Gimatria nos v'gam shalosh ha'osyos yud kei vav, 3 letters yud kei vav, the moichin and the midos, the intellectual faculties, the Yud and the Hey, Chochmah and Bina, and the Vav, the emotional faculties, Ve'ad, Lamshoch HaSa'ir Shelamala Ma'abois Shem Havai. So not only that Malchus will have a drawdown of light, and that Malchus is not going to be efficient whatsoever, and even the light of the spheres that is above it. So rather, the we're dealing with Amshoch HaSa'ir, a drawdown of light that is even higher than Oisya Shem Havai, higher than the 4 letters of the name Yud Kei Vav Kei. Shekol Zanim Shach David Davka, and all of the above is drawn specifically to David. Why? What did he do to have such revelation? Because David mitzad atzmei, meaning for himself, he באופן של היפוקד, is in a state of, is deficient. And because that he is in that state, he causes the revelation. So and therefore Malchus would have the revelation of nifkadeto, that you will be remembered. That's what nifkadeto means. Vinyone, what does it mean to be the David is hypocrite? David is in a state of chisorin, and that causes their response. Because it is in that state, it causes a response. Yone b'avedis odom shvichtei she'ev nifkadeto she'en zechir v'gilu melamalo aris davka al zeh al yedei zeh she'hypocrite meishavecha. This is very important. He says, really, how can we do the same thing to be remembered, that Hashem remembers us? We are on the list of being remembered, being cared for. So he says, it's the same idea by pocket, meaning you are deficient, you are not there seemingly. If David doesn't show up to the meal, then he is remembered. So how does it translate to Avodas Hashem, to serving Hashem? That we have to be in a state of hypocrite, that we're not around. What does it mean exactly? We have to see. And then because of that, it would create some kind of remembrance and response. So it says, what is the inyan of hypocrite Meishovecha, that you're not around, that you are not at the meal? So he says, Shu inyan achisoin da'ainu inyan habitul. So bitul, David HaMelech was in a state of bitul, and because that he was in such a state, he became a kli for revelation. And we said before, not just from Shem Havaya, even higher than Shem Havaya. So over here it tells us that hypocrite means bitul. Da'ainu inyan habitul. Concept of nullification, to be nullified. Nullifying his yeshus, his existence, to godliness. It's written in Mamorim of month of Tishrei. It's also in the writings of the Arizal. Remember, we spoke about revelation of closeness and revelation from afar. In the writings of the Arizal, it says that revelation of Ein Sof in Keter and Chochmah is Kiruv, in Bina is Richuk, and then in the emotive attributes is through a window, and then it goes even less, from Atzilus to Bria is through a nekev, through a hole, and then it comes even through a partition, screen. The previous mimer that we learned. So it says, Ein Sof shines, radiates in Chochmah with closeness, which means it's a much greater light, more potent light. Now, since Chochmah is bitul, the dot of Chochmah represents, which is the Yud, represents nullification. And that's why the Ein Sof shines closely in Chochmah. Again, because of its bittul. Why Chochmah, why wisdom deserves to receive more than Bina? We said in Chochmah it's with closeness, and Bina, Ein Sof shines in from afar. So what's so special about Chochmah that gets more? You said because of the bittul of Chochmah. It all boils down to the bittul. base. V'yesh lekashel ze mavur v'divu matchil bereishis bar Elokim. So the Rebbe brings a Vayomer that was said by the Rebbe Rayatz, B'shnas Tavshin Hei, Shemei Vishon Pirush Morino Baal Shem Tov Shmo Sa'id in Pasuk Zeh. The Rebbe Rayatz quotes a statement from the Baal Shem Tov. Shetchila Sa'avoidei Bar Elokim, Ainu Legalas HaKavon Sheb'Shem Elokim. He said, what is the first stage in Avodas Hashem? The first step in serving Hashem, he calls it in his way, Bo Elokim. That's the first step, which means to reveal the purpose, or the godly purpose, in the name Elokim. And he explains it now. The creation of creation. The creation of creation. Yalidei Shem Elokim Davka. What do we say? Bereishis Boro. What's the pasuk? How's the pasuk?
Bereishis Boro Elokim.
Elokim. So meaning that Hashem created the world with a name.
With a name.
Which name? Which name did Hashem create the world with?
Fire?
I don't know. What does it say in the Torah? You just said Bereishis Boro Elokim. So meaning Hashem created the world with the name Elokim.
Yeah.
So Baal Shem Tov tells us the creation of the world, the physical reality, the limited reality, Yalidei Shem Elokim Davka, specifically through Shem Elokim. Now, what is the name Elokim represent? The name God represents. The name Elokim represents contraction, concealment, limitation. Because of the contraction, now created a reality that the world can stand upon, the world can exist. First, initially, the infinite light of God pervaded and filled the entire place. And there was no room for the world to stand upon. Regarding that, it says, Bereshis, Hashem created the world, Actually, Gemara in Chulin says that the word Bo is revelation. It says, what is the purpose of creation? To reveal the intention in Shem Elokim, in the name Elokim. And he explains it further. What does it mean to reveal the intention in the name Elokim? There are 3 types of Aveda. Meaning serving Hashem 3 different ways, 3 different levels. Brings the interpretation of the Tzemach Tzedek and the Mital Rebbe. Teras Chaim. Shebetevas Bereshis Rosh Perushim. The word Bereshis has 3 interpretations. Unkelus Pirush Targum Unkelus explained Bereshis Bekadmin, in the beginning. Kadmus, beginning. Shepirushay, what does it mean? Keser. What is Keser called?
Crown.
Kadmin, original, first. What is Keser? Keser is the light before Ishtalshalus, before the degradations, before the contractions. Kihu Kadmin L'chol Davar, preceded everything. Pirush, that's Targum Unkelus. So Targum Unkelus says this is referencing to Kadmin. Bereshis is Kadmin, which translate to Ket. Pirush Targum Yerushalmi, Bereshis b'chuchmaso. Comes Targum Yerushalmi, and he says, no, Bereshis means Chochma. Shepirushoy b'chochma, ki ha-chochma Bereshis zechol Ishtalshalus. He says, no, Chochma is the beginning of Ishtalshalus. And that's what Bereshis is all about. Rabbi Seinu Zal comes Zayar Pirshu Bereshis Boroshis Shepirusha Sheish Amidas. Zal says no, Bereshis, because he created 6. Boro, if you break the word Bereshis, it says Boroshis, that he created 6 midos. Chesed Gevura Tiferes Netzach Hod and Yesod Shal Yod Anois Hisav Selem K'Moshekosu. Through the emotive attributes, the world came into being, because it says Kisheishes Yomim Asa Havai Shema V'Sod. Hashem created the world 6 days. It says Sheishes and not Besheishes. Besheishes Lo Yinem Ela Sheishes. What does that mean? What's the diuk? What's the learning from Sheishes and not Besheishes? Shem Sheish Amidas, because they're referencing to the 6 emotive attributes. Shal Yod Nivra Olam Tzol Sfiras HaMalchus Shemikabesh Shem. The world came into being through Malchus, but Malchus receives from the 6 midos. Moshe Kosov, it's written in the Torah Parashat Bereshis. Ela told this Hashmayim v'Orez Behi Borom. The Gemara says, what is Behi Borom? The Gemara Menachos 29b, one says Behei Borom. He created the world with a Hey. Dahainu Achrina Sfiras HaMalchus. He created the world with the last Hey, which is Malchus. So we have 3 interpretations. Unkelus, Keser, Kadmin. Comes Targum Yerushalmi says Chochma. Comes Azar says no, 6 midos. That's what Bereshis is referencing to. Boroshis created the world with 6 midos. So you have 3 pirushim in Bereshis. Corresponding to that, you have 3 pirushim in the name Elokim. So you have Keser, Chochma, Midas. That was the 3 interpretations that we learned. Crown, wisdom, and the emotive attributes. That's what Bereshis is. But there is also 3 pirushim in the name Elokim. Same way you have 3 interpretations to Bereshis, you'll have 3 interpretations to Elokim. Sharein adim v'shem Elokim amalim b'isavus devekadmin. Shisfiras HaKeser Shem Elokim amalim v'isavus v'chochmas Shisfiras HaChochma Shem Elokim amalim v'isavus devoroshis Shisavus b'foyer. If you think of it this way, Shem Elokim is concealing, right? Concealment. That's what Shem Elokim is, concealing Shem Havai. So, at what level you have to create more concealment? A level where there's greater light, you have to create more concealment.
Right, like you have to wear sunglasses.
Yeah.
That's not
So maybe a room that has a greater exposure to the sun, you need to put more curtains if you want to avoid the sun.
Right.
So it says, Shem Elokim, the way it conceals Keser, it's one level. The way it conceals Chochma is another level. And the way Elokim conceals Midos, each level has its own concealment. Shem Elokim is impacting each level accordingly. ועניין זה מתאים הידוע שבכלול הוא סדר השתלשלות של הפרסוס כלוליוס. It says that in general, in Seder Ishtalshelus, the order of degradation, you have 3 partitions, which means contractions, concealment. It says in a few sources that there are 4 general worlds, right? Atzilus, Bria, Etzirasiya. Emanation, creation, formation, action. Between Atzilus and Bia, between Atzilus, the world of emanation, and the world of creation, formation, and action, there's a serious difference between them. Why? Because between Atzilus and Bria, there's partition that limits the light in Atzilus to the world that are beneath it. Meaning the partition Atzilus limits the flow from Atzilus to Bria.
Right.
Okay? So it says in general, in Seder Ishtalshelus, you have 3 parsos klolius, 3 general partitions. Okay? We see it by a human being down here. It says you have chayus, you have vitality that comes from the brain to the body. Okay? And it goes through 3 partitions. There is a membrane that is on the brain. That's one partition. And then they have the constraint of the neck, of the throat, that separates between the intellect and the emotive attributes. That's the second partition. And then you have also Chatzar HaKoved. It's called the courtyard of the liver, that separates between the limbs that are associated with breathing, like the lungs, to the limbs that are associated with with the digestion, like the stomach, intestines, and the like. That's the third partition. The Tamadovo. Why is it that you have 3 parsois? ולפי שכן הוא גם למעלה, שישנם 3 parsois כלוליים. Today is a official holiday?
Yeah, it's Columbus Day.
Oh. But I still think they'll daven at 7, right? They'll still daven at 7, no?
Yeah, I don't know if they did it in that. It's not the same thing. The biggies, it's like,
Right.
It's not the biggie. There's no mail today.
Okay, but
I'm not saying they should daven at 7.
okay, so we see there are 3 partitions. We said the brain has its membrane. We have the throat also, Meitzah HaGoren, separates between intellect and emotions. And then you have the liver, Chatzar HaKoved, that separates between the limbs, like the lungs, to the limbs that are associated with digestion, with the digestive system. Why is it? Because this is happening above also. It exists above 3 general partitions. So that's also associated with the 3 levels in Shem Elokim that conceals. You have concealment associated with the Keser, concealment with Chochmah, and concealment with Midah. So we said before, each one to a different level, but the concealments are there. The partitions are there. So comes the Baal Shem Tov and tells you that in all these levels, you need to reveal the kavanah, the intention in Shem Elokim. Although it seems like concealment, it was destined, it was created to conceal the godly light. But you have to reveal the inner purpose of the concealment, the purpose of the concealment, that ultimately it would lead to revelation. V'inyan zeh, revealing the purpose of the concealment ultimately means to reveal godliness in the world, or to reveal godliness in places where godliness is hidden. Naso the klolus havid can be accomplished through generally being involved in Torah mitzvahs. Because learning Torah and doing mitzvahs within the physical reality removes the concealment and reveals godliness. Uvifrat al-yedei korbanos, specifically through the korbanos, shezeu klolus inyan avodah. Korbanos are elevation of the physical reality, brings us closer to Hashem, and arouses godly revelation. And similarly, davening that corresponds to korbanos, as the Gemara says in Brachos 26, A and B, shal zeh nemar, it says in the Torah about the dreams of Yaakov, Sulam mutzav arzo rosham v'gashamayim. That the purpose of davening is to connect between heaven and earth. Eretz is the physical reality of the world, earth, and Shamayim is the spiritual reality. Sulam mutzav arzo v'rosham v'gashamayim, connecting the two, heaven and earth. Vaynu shagam b'chinas arzo ez is hey lemata me'eretz. Arzo is eretz with a hey, which means that it's even lower. Even the lowest level, we can still reveal the Shomayim, the heaven with an added hey, which is above Shomayim. You have Shomayim and you have Shomayim. Shomayim with a hey is even higher. So we're revealing the highest level in the lowest one. That would lead us to reach a higher level than prior to the descent. Prior to descent, we were on a certain level, and through the descent, you reach another. You can reach a higher level. So the ultimate purpose of the descent is for the ascent. If not for that, then what's the purpose of the coming into the world? Has to be for a greater elevation. We'll continue, God willing, tomorrow.